Is there an inventory of vehicles? Do you keep an inventory of vehicles, who uses them, who gets them, the mileage?
Absolutely.
Could I have access to that?
You already got it. Only your people here in Dodge is not the road.
Okay.
So it's available.
Okay.
There you have it. Think JP.
Who?
JP.
G.
The guy just wrote the editorial about vehicles. Piccardi. I think Tony, you know. Lives on Ocean Avenue.
I don't know who you're referring to, Jim.
Since we're not sure,
This company got a whole list of all the vehicles and everything that you signed. So,
Well, Jim, why would you assume that I know him?
why?
Why would you assume that I know
He
him?
used to work at the restaurant.
JP?
Yeah.
And what's his name? I don't know what JP stands for. Joe Piccardi? I don't think I've ever had a Joe Piccardi work in my restaurant. No. Thank you.
Burlington?
Art Burlington?
Yeah.
What about him?
He's right there.
He's with him.
Yeah.
I don't understand what you mean. I happen to know who Art Burlington is. He's a customer.
Oh, he's a customer?
Right.
Okay, Mr. Dragon, any other questions?
Joe Piccardi, 2201 Ocean Avenue. I'd like to read a statement for the record. It has come to my attention that during the City Council meeting on August 5th, the City Manager, Mr. James Barber, brought my name into the public forum. Unfortunately, I was not in attendance at the meeting, nor was I watching it on television. I learned about it from several friends who called me. Subsequently, I requested a copy of the recording of the meeting through an Open Public Records Act known as an Oprah request. On that recording, Mr. Barber states that, quote, "We all know who JP is, Joe Piccardi," unquote. He further states that I work for Councilman Pulella and that I am, quote, "with that Al Burlington," unquote, which is clarified later as Art Burlington, and, quote, "they live on Ocean Avenue," unquote. The context in which I was identified as JP was in relation to questions concerning vehicle purchases by the city. Please recall that a letter to the editor published in the Beachcomber News on July 24th, 2009, that was critical of vehicle purchases by the city was signed JP. It is true and a matter of public record that during the 2008 campaign, I did receive information regarding vehicle purchases by the city under Oprah. I want to clarify several points for the record so that in the future there should be no mistakes regarding my identity. I am 64 years old. I'm an only child. My parents are deceased, and I am a native son of New Jersey. I received a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1968 from Maryknoll College, and in 1972, a Master of Divinity degree in theology from Maryknoll Seminary. In 1973, I was ordained a Roman Catholic priest as a member of the Maryknoll Fathers and Brothers. In 1974, I received a Master of Science degree as a family nurse practitioner from New York Medical College. I left the priesthood voluntarily in 1987, having spent the majority of my time in Bolivia providing pastoral care and health care to the rural poor, and several years caring for elderly and ill Maryknoll priests and brothers here in this country. Since the time of my resignation from the priesthood, I have been employed by New Community Development Corporation of Newark as the director of their home health care agency, by the University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey doing pediatric and perinatal HIV and AIDS research, by Dr. Philip Paparone, and by the AtlantiCare Regional Medical Center providing treatment in infectious diseases, and I work part-time treating HIV/AIDS patients in the Ocean County Department of Health HIV/AIDS clinic. I retired from clinical practice in August of 2007. Please note that I am not now, nor have I ever been employed by Mr. Anthony Pulella. However, knowing the caliber of the people that Mr. Pulella does employ, I would be honored to be numbered among them. I am very much with Art Burlington. We have been together as a couple since 1988. We are in a civil union under the laws of the state of New Jersey. We both volunteer for Meals on Wheels. We are members of the Elks and the Democratic Club. I have written and signed my full name to several published letters to the editor. I have never signed only using my initials. Understand that although my actual initials are indeed JP, in no way, shape, or form did I in any way contribute to, nor did I author the aforementioned letter to the editor of July 24th. When Mr. Burlington and I inquired at the offices of the Beachcomber as to why said letter was published without a full name, we were told that the author used the initials JP because of fear of intimidation. Apparently, the author's fear was rational, because I believe that my and Mr. Burlington's names were brought up in public and in the manner in which they were brought up as an attempt to intimidate us, as well as an attempt to hinder public political opposition in the city of Brigantine. The manner in which Mr. Burlington was brought up suggests intimidation because the mention of Mr. Burlington was totally gratuitous. However mistakenly, there was no, however, in bringing my name into the public forum, however mistakenly, there was absolutely no need to mention Mr. Burlington, except to show that Mr. Barber has the means to investigate and gather information on people who he thinks may be critical of him or the city, or whom he finds objectionable for whatever reason. This is why many people are reluctant to speak their mind. Second, the fact that Mr. Barber even more gratuitously mentioned that I am, quote, with Art Burlington, unquote, and that we, quote, live on Ocean Avenue, unquote, suggests that Mr. Barber thinks that publicly revealing that we live together is somehow damaging information. Third, in mentioning such personal information publicly and in my absence, Mr. Barber showed contempt for the boundary between public and private and for my and Mr. Burlington's privacy rights. In addition, the fact that Mr. Barber is wrong about who wrote the letter suggests that as the city manager, he is more concerned to attack perceived enemies than he is to be cautious and not leap to conclusions. Mr. Barber is an employee of this city with a job description and certain ethical and legal obligations. He does not have the freedom to investigate or reveal information about whomever he may dislike, nor to attack people whom he thinks disagree with him. He is required to treat everyone with respect, to deal factually with city business, not to leap to conclusions, and not to engage in personal investigations and attacks or reveal personal information. Both Mr. Burlington and I are involved members in this community. We are not the enemy. We are loyal citizens, voters, and taxpayers. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Any other public comment? John?